How do you feel about this presentation?
I'm really excited.
Are you excited?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear Lisette talk.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited to tell you guys about this saint. He's actually not a saint yet. He's blessed. But I'm really excited because he was just a normal guy living a normal life, and we know tons about him, and he's just a guy who was normal and average, but he very much applied the gospel message into his life, which was that Jesus Christ is the way and the truth and the life. Now, his name is Blessed Bartolome Blanco Marquez. He was born in Spain in 1914, so not even 100 years ago. He was orphaned as a young child and then adopted by his aunt and uncle. He was an excellent student. He even worked or helped at his local church as a catechist, doing the whole Sunday school thing. In 1932, when he was 18, he was elected youth secretary of a local Catholic group in his hometown. And eventually he joined the army. Now fast forward 4 years to 1936. Now, do you guys know what happened in 1936 in Spain? Okay, that's good because it's on history class. The Spanish Civil War began, and Bartolome didn't support the war, so he went on military leave. At this point, he was about 21 years old. He was 21 years old, and the government found out that he was an official at this Catholic group, and he was also helping to publish and to distribute Catholic literature. So the government found this out and arrested him for something like distributing books. It's not a big deal, but what gets even crazier is that along with 15 priests and a bunch of other laymen, Bartolome was judged and sentenced to death. And Bartolome, here's the really crazy part, he didn't even oppose the sentence. He didn't do anything to protest it. Instead, he told the court that if they released him, he would continue to be an active Catholic. On the eve of his death, Bartolome wrote letters to his relatives and to his girlfriend. In a letter to his family, he doesn't even express anger or hatred towards his persecutors. Rather, he says to his family, "I ask you to avenge me with the vengeance of a Christian." I'm going to say this again. "I ask you to avenge me with the vengeance of a Christian, to return more good to those who tried to do me evil." With this letter, guys, we see the grace of a saint. We see the grace that brings joy and boldness that comes with living the gospel. On the day of his execution, Bartolome walked out of his cell barefoot, so as to be more like Christ. He kissed his handcuffs, and the guard led him out in front of a line of gunmen. Now, the common practice for this type of execution was for the prisoner to face the wall and then be shot from behind. But Bartolome refused. With the boldness of Christ, he said, "No, whoever dies for Christ should do so facing forward and standing straight." As they shot him, Bartolome shouted, "Long live Christ the King!" A few days later, Bartolome's girlfriend received his last letter. Now you guys have this in your handout, and I'm just going to highlight a few bits here. And you guys should pay attention to this, like the fellas especially, because you did a really good job writing all of this. And I'm sure your girlfriends would appreciate something similar. So he starts off the letter with "Maruja, my soul." Come on now. "Your memory will accompany me to my grave, and as long as the slightest throb stirs in my heart, it will beat for love of you." He goes on to say, "My sentence in the courts of men will be my best defense before the courts of God. Because in killing me, they grant me true life, and in condemning me for always upholding the highest ideals of religion, patriotism, and family, they swing open the gates of heaven. While I am left with only a few hours, I only wish to ask but one thing of you, that in memory of the love we had, which at this instant increases, that you would take on as your primary objective the salvation of your soul. In that way, we will procure our reuniting in heaven for all eternity, where nothing shall separate us. Goodbye until that moment, then, Maruja, of my soul. Do not forget that even from heaven I look at you. Do not forget me, my Maruja, and may my memory serve to remind you there's a better life, and that attaining it should constitute our highest aspiration. Be strong and make a new life. You are young and good, and you will have God's help, which I will implore for you from his kingdom. Goodbye until eternity, where we shall continue to love each other for life everlasting. Signed, Bartolome. Thank you.